Let's talk about these games.
These games, though. Falcons 15-9.
Points.
Vikings win 30-12. The Falcons one's probably a little bit more interesting to me, just because the Vikings, we know
they blew the Gallagher over and over and over.
Skull. But the Falcons, Kirk still did not look good, right? Kirk threw a bad pick to start the second half. He finished the game 11 of 17 for 112 yards, a big portion of that coming off of a blown Jack Jones special, biting on a double move.
We could have thrown that pass.
Yes, which was about as wide open as you'll get in the NFL. One touchdown, one interception, 78.6 pass rating. But just watching, it was same old Kirk. It was just that he's playing probably the worst defense he's faced in a month and a half. So are we anywhere close to buying back into the Falcons, or is it just probably too little too late?
No, it's too little too late.
Did you guys probably didn't see the post-game interview? You probably went to bed.
I was in bed crying.
Okay. Post-game interview with Kirk. He seemed lost, shaken, not confident in himself. And I'm concerned from that standpoint, because when a guy starts doubting himself, he's done.
Yep. It's like getting water in your ship. It doesn't stop. There's a hole somewhere, and we're running out of planks.
Down you go.
For the Falcons, we knew that it was going to be, you're going to go as far as Kirk Cousins allows your football team to go. He was the spark plug in this offense that was supposed to take them to new heights. Obviously, last year, we could easily sit there and blame the quarterback, and it wasn't perfect. They've got skilled players. They've got good coaches. They have a good staff, from the head guy to the offensive coordinator. Kirk Cousins had to be perfect this year for this Falcons team to have a chance to make a run at it. He hasn't been perfect, and I think that's about as simply as I can put it. And he's just not right. I don't think it's going to be coming back anytime soon, which is why I've been kind of banging the table for Penix, get some juice in there, get some young life in the fold.
There's two things that just about Kirk right now when you watch him play that I just don't think are ever coming back, and just bring that offense to its knees, because when you don't have them, you're just behind the eight ball in the NFL.
Strength.
One is arm strength. You saw in the interception, he can't step into the throw. That thing was hanging there forever. It's a 10-yard throw and a window that should have been hittable. Probably, I'd say all but 3 or 4 quarterbacks in the NFL, that's even in that scenario, they're getting it in there.
We don't have to name them.
And then you see the rush lanes of the Raiders last night. They have no gap integrity. They don't care. They know Kirk's not breaking outside the pocket. They can just attack and pin their ears back. Any single true pass opportunity, 3rd and long, they're just getting after it. I mean, even earlier downs, they don't even care. And that puts your O-line in a tough spot when they don't have to have rush integrity. They can just create chaos.
And his eyes have come down. He's not standing there going through progressions. His eyes have come down.
He's the king of not taking a sack, but that ball's at a foot of a wide receiver. 10 yards downfield.
Yeah,
5 yards downfield.
He's shaken. But you also have to look at it from this standpoint. And you know this. Quarterbacking is more than just getting in there and playing quarterback and throwing it around. You got to handle the huddle, handle the play calls, handle all that.
Leader.
Is Michael Penix ready for that yet? And this team is still in the playoff hunt. I mean, what's their schedule the next 3 weeks? It's not brutal, and
Giants, Commanders, Panthers. It's very easy.
From
a relative perspective.
The other side of that is if Tampa Bay beats Dallas, their next 2 after that are the Saints and the Panthers at home.
They have an easy.
So if they win Sunday or is it Sunday night or Monday night? They play the.
I think it's Sunday because the Packers play Saints on Monday.
Yeah, they play Sunday night against the Bucs and Cowboys in Dallas. If they win that game, they're winning the division. Yeah. So, why don't you maybe go to Penix?
You would say, is Penix ready to take on the onus of being the leader in that building? And I would say it doesn't matter. I mean, I understand what it's like being in a room where you feel like you're being held back by the catalyst of your offense. And when you get somebody in there, you're going to do everything you can in your power to make sure that you are on your P's and Q's. You've dotted your I's, crossed your T's, and you're going to play with an enthusiasm unknown to mankind. You get a guy like Penix in there at this point in the season. Who knows? What's the worst that can happen? He looks like Kirk Cousins?
He can't look any worse.
What's the best that can happen?
Right.
Michael Penix goes.
I get it. He can't look any worse.
He may not light the world on fire, but he can light up a room maybe, and that'll be a big time help for this Falcons offense.
Who's their game this week?
They play this upcoming week. They play the Giants. So
okay, so this would be the week. This would be the week you make the change.
Yeah.
If you were going to make a change, it's this week because then it's the Commanders after that. So you make a change this week.
You need it. You'd like to get at least a warm-up game before, because the Commanders game is basically, if you have any chance, that's it. Right.
So maybe they make the change this week. I tell you what, I would sit here and say, no, even as bad as he played, but watching him after the game, I think he seems shell-shocked. He thinks like he's done.
All right, the other game, just to touch on real quick, Bears-Vikings. Obviously, the Vikings win going away 30-12. Not much from the Vikings side. It wasn't a banner Sam Darnold game, but they put up 30 nonetheless. So this Vikings offense obviously still a house.
They ran the hell out of the football.
Caleb Williams, though.
Are you worried about him?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm worried about the entire
Are we
building.
sitting
No.
down? Because T-Bags came in the end of that game. Threw a nice little swing screen.
You can hit me with the, are you
there was
worried
30
about Caleb
there was 30
Williams? At the end of
seconds
the day,
left.
you, me, and our mamas, we all wrote Bryce Young off, and Bryce Young looked pretty darn good for a few weeks there. At least we know that it's in there. Well, hear me out. He's the number one pick. He's in a franchise that, in my opinion, is broken in its current state. Ryan Poles has a 14-game losing streak on his record, and now he's got an 8-game losing streak, the 2 longest losing streaks in Bears history. This is a group that has said more than they've done. They haven't set their group up, including their number one pick, for success, albeit everybody in the media, including myself, was like, hey, this is a great situation for a rookie quarterback because of the receivers and blah, 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 blah.
Talent-wise, I still think it is. I mean,
I think it's a good situation, but there's relative to the other number one picks. Yes.
Yeah, that's like number one picks usually walking into as bad a situation.
There's bad and then there's not as bad.
Yeah.
And I think that's where they're at in Chicago. There are a million things I could go on here and rant and rave about, but the team is not good enough. They haven't played well enough for me to waste my time talking about it. It pisses me off. I question what their mission statement is inside the building, how they're looking to construct this roster moving forward. And quite frankly, I don't have faith in this organization to make the right moves moving forward. And it's obvious to me that there are haves and have-nots in this league, and a lot of it starts at the top in these buildings. And they haven't gotten it right. And that falls on everybody. That falls on, from all the way to Virginia McCaskey down to, the person that picked Torrey Taylor up when he got drafted at the airport. You know what I'm saying? Everybody is to blame. I'm not questioning toughness. I'm not questioning talent. I'm questioning a plan. And that has been something that we can say year in, year out about the Chicago Bears. And it's frustrating. As a former Bear, somebody who gave my body up in my youth for this franchise, I would have fully expected them to figure it out by now, and they haven't. So I think that their offseason to-do list just got even longer. And unfortunately, it may include getting a new general manager.
Well, and obviously the one guy that you're looking at, Caleb Williams. I mean, that's the rest of the season. Is Caleb, can he show development? 3.27 average time to throw yesterday. Even when the offensive line holds up.
Hey, can you guys keep him down back there? We're doing a show in here. Hey, yo. Can you guys keep it down a little bit? We're doing a show. Thanks.
That only gives Williams, like when he does have time, it almost seems like he'll hold the ball till whenever the pressure comes, almost regardless. It seems like in the pocket. And
it's loud.
It's not really, it hasn't improved. It just hasn't improved.
When I watched him last night, there were a couple things, holding the ball, the spinning around. This isn't USC. It's still doing that stuff.
That's such a tired quote. I'm so tired
it isn't.
Of people saying it's not
USC.
It's not.
He plays like it's USC.
Dude, the guy is under fire every play. Every single play.
He allows a lot of the fire.
They have it's gross negligence across the board. And is Caleb perfect? No. Is he great? No.
There are things about that. Like when you see him on the sideline acting like he got shot in a drive-by, do you seriously?
That was
he could be internally bleeding.
Overly dramatic.
Come on.
We don't know what he's going through. This is the same people that called Jay Cutler soft when he was on the bike in the NFC Championship. Little did they know his hamstrings hanging off his bone.
But the bottom line is there are too many. After the game, he was talking again about your body taking hits like a car crash and all this. Do you ever hear other quarterbacks say that?
No.
You don't. They just go out and take them.
Quite frankly, I don't listen to other quarterbacks the way that I listen to Caleb Williams because they're not.
You're not concerned at all for Caleb Williams.
I'm concerned for his health.
No, you're not concerned about the way he plays.
I'm concerned for his mental. I'm concerned, obviously, with some of the accuracy issues. But one thing I'm not concerned with is his playmaking ability behind the line of scrimmage. It's what makes him special. I truly believe that. When he's running around, spinning, that's.
I worry about him operating the offense.
What he's doing there is, I think, in my opinion, elite level stuff.
I mean, the throw he made at the end of the game, when you sit there and you go, "Oh my God, that's," and he made two of them. Actually,
it's not good.
No, two of them were great.
No. Yeah. The throw to Keenan Allen over the middle with zero people occupying the middle of the field. I understand the gripes. I understand where people are like going to be frustrated. But there's a guy in Caleb Williams who has elite traits and, in my opinion, competitive toughness. And in my opinion, also through what I've heard him say, he doesn't throw people under the bus. And I've seen it time and time again in Chicago. And I'm glad that our quarterback of the future is not one of those people that's pointing fingers externally.
I just think the timeline for Caleb is different than what a lot of people build him as. I never thought, I thought he was a guy that honestly you could even sit year one and like that.
And you did talk about that.
That he was not, from what he played at USC and that offense and the style of football he played, was not readily transferable. That it was just, you're going to have to go through some growing pains. And for them to like put their eggs in their basket the way they did this year, trade for Keenan Allen to spend $23 million cap space, it was like, this was not the year to put this much pressure on it. And then obviously, like, when you put that much pressure on, any backslide feels like the world is falling. You know, the sky is falling. So I think they put too much pressure on him as a fan base, as like in terms of expectations, and from starting him out the gate. You just look at what he looked like early on in the season. He could have benefited from what Drake May went through in terms of just put the other guy out there. It might look awful, but we are not playing for the season. And I think you've set him, maybe not set him back, but not developed him as much as you could have in year one because of everything that's.
See, I'm going
to develop him.
Yeah, but I'm a big believer. You put your kid in there and let him play. He's going to find. And every quarterback I've ever talked to in my entire life has told me I learned more playing in one game than I did sitting and watching in an entire season. Right. And so, if the psyche of the kid, everybody always goes back to David Carr. David Carr, he was ruined by the Texans. He was sacked 76 times. David Carr was ruined by David Carr. Yeah. You know, and David Carr probably would tell you this to this. I don't know if he would ever admit it. The Carrs usually don't admit that thing. But if he was from what I was told by people, he was leaving at 5:00, and that was the end of the day for him. And you can't do that. If Caleb, Anthony Richardson had to sit him down. Why? Not because of him, checking out of that game or whatever. It's because he wasn't showing up.
Habits. Habits.
And
I don't know what Caleb's habits are.
If Caleb's habits are good and this is what you have, then you have a problem. If Caleb's habits are bad and this is what you have and it's all part of the big picture, then it's the team's problem.
I think it's a toxic.
But playing doesn't.
Such a toxic environment for.
It was the greatest environment in the world before the season.
No, well, that's for people that are excited about a change because it's been so toxic that they get one sense of hope and they are over the moon about it, myself included. I needed to pump the brakes. I probably should have, and I apologize for getting so damn excited about this team year after year. But man, oh man, wholesale changes. Bring somebody in who can get a roster of badass non-talkers and let them go play football. There are a lot of superstars in this league you don't hear a peep out of, and those are the guys that tend to be on teams that are having success.
That's why I would love for them to turn the keys over, or not love to as a Packers fan, but just with the state of that organization to someone like a Mike Vrabel, who is truly a
football
top-down sort of. It starts with him, and he has a vision. He has a plan for what they're going to be. And they will fall in line beneath him. Someone who's done it already and shown that they can do that. I don't want another new coach who could possibly, and offensive coach who he gets his OC is going to be vastly important, right? But I think he did a good job of identifying talent in Tennessee at that position, whether it was LaFleur, whether it was Arthur Smith. Those guys obviously went on to have success. And as their OCs. And
But,
then OCs
but
elsewhere.
then there were stories of friction
It's not necessarily
between him and LaFleur and him and John
That's valid.
Robinson. I mean, look,
Every building has friction.
but a lot of friction. But look, I think Mike Vrabel would be good for any team because he would no nonsense, none of that.
Or Brian Flores.
But
like
here's
someone who would set the tone. Someone who will set the tone and be able to tell ownership, I set the tone. Would be able to do that.
Here's what you have to do with the Bears, because we all talk about how great it was before the season. What Bear has played better this year than he did a year ago?
Gervon Dexter.
Not there now. He's hurt.
That was probably the only one.
Yeah. Because Johnson hasn't.
Not
Montez
Sweat hasn't.
Sweat.
The offensive linemen haven't. The receivers certainly have. DJ Moore's not better than he was a year ago.
I know.
The Swift has gone in the opposite direction from, and they paid him. Who's better? That's why I always ask myself, whenever you sit and evaluate a team and you say, should the coach be fired? What players are better?
Darnell Wright has gotten better. He's had some bad weeks, but he has gotten better throughout the course of the season.
Better to the point where you thought he should be?
Guys who were rookies last year are the only two.
But he's better.
That's worrisome.
But he's better. Is he better to where you thought he would be? That's the question. Is he improved to the point you thought he would improve to? And the answer to that is no. Nobody.
Definitely not.
Dexter's the only
I
one.
thought Tevin Jenkins would be so much better.
Tevin Jenkins was supposed to be a man eater.
Yeah, I thought, their line.
Is Cole Kmet better? No, Cole Kmet's not better. Nobody's better. And so when you look at it, it's always, when you look at a team, it's always the coaching. If guys aren't getting better.
Yeah. Which is why I believe you don't inherit anybody from this staff on the new one. I don't care. I don't care if they're washing T-shirts.
That's not a debate.
I don't care if they're washing T-shirts for your team, cleaning jerseys. I don't care if they're get them all out.
I'm a big believer in clean it all out and start all over.
Get them
again.
all out.
And I can relate this to Jacksonville. Jacksonville needs to clean it all up and start all over again. And I go back to that roster. Who's better? Who's better than they were a year ago? You got to pick and choose to find guys. That tells you it's the staff, it's the organization. You need fresh blood in there.